Good morning. Thanks for joining us, for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to Bob Goff, his book, Catching Whimsy. The moral of this story is think before you speak, which may mean keeping your mouth shut. Pretty good. Proverbs 13:3, it says, those who control their tongue will have a long life. Opening your mouth can ruin everything. It's also a proverb, and other people have quoted it different ways. It is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Yeah, you've probably heard that one before. So there's been times where I've stuck my foot in my mouth, and I'm not going to talk about that today. But when I was just up at Denali National Park earlier this month, I was checking into a lodge there. Very nice place. I'd seen it about 3 weeks earlier when I was there on my hiking trip. Didn't stay there, but I checked in and tried to get some better rooms because I made a reservation for 3 couples, and I had to pay it in advance, and they had already reimbursed me. And the day that we went there to check in, I had to give a photo ID, and I had my passport with me, but I gave them my license. It was a temporary license. Have you seen these? They're paper, and it has a photograph on there. But I think right then the guy behind the counter is like, what's up with this guy? The young guy. And he says, we don't have anything for you. That is a bad thing to hear, right? And it's bad enough if it's me and my wife and I was responsible for the reservation. But there's 2 other couples. And he says, no, I don't have anything here for you tonight. He goes, tomorrow night at the other location, which is down at the state park. And I'm like, yes, I have that, but I have something. And he's like, no, you don't have anything here. And I said, I was here last month, and I confirmed and asked for rooms with views, and this went on for a while. And then he finally, I think that's when he asked me, and he was kind of like being sleuthy, if that's a word. He's like, so you live here in Alaska? I said, no, I live in Illinois. And I tried to not give him any attitude, but I don't know where he got off asking, so you live here? But that's because I said I'd been here. I said, no, I was here on a hiking trip. He said, well, all I can do is go get the manager. So he gets the manager and he comes back. Meanwhile, these 2 other couples with us, they're checking in with other agents and it's working fine. So I'm like, what's up here? It's like I made their reservation. I didn't go Steve Martin and get exasperated, but the manager came out, and then the young man finally says, well, it's in Heidi's name, not your name. Well, there's so few Glymans in the world. Heidi was right there with me. He never mentioned that part. And the manager said, look, I think we've got enough here, young man. These folks are in the system. The name is in the system. It's proceed. So after the manager left, he still wouldn't deal with me. So, okay, Heidi put it on that credit card that I pay. Anyway, the point of the story is that I don't know what set him off, but he really didn't make much sense. Now, I get it. Last name, first name, I understand that. But folks, we make wrong assumptions about people, and then we can cause issues. I ran into the manager out on the sidewalk later, and he was kind of shaking his head. Yeah, the young man was just trying to apply the letter of the law and just got carried away. Jesus somehow looked for the good in other people. Think about Peter. When Peter, he didn't say, Peter, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. You denied after 3 years that you know me. How about this one? When he's got somebody next to him who's mocking him on the cross, he didn't get into a shouting match. He took the abuse. And when the guy changed his tune, and if you do a harmony of the Gospels, that's obviously what happened. Both the criminals mocked Jesus, and then one just said, no, man, remember me when you come into your kingdom. I'm convinced it's because he heard him say, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. But think about how Jesus always assumed the best in other people. We would do well to do the same, because when we make wrong assumptions and we act on them and we speak on them, we can really make a mess. And I'm glad I got to talk about somebody else's mistakes and not my own today. May you have a blessed week. God bless you.